What's going on, guys? It's Sensei Adam, and today we got a huge update that Supercell just released, filled with lots of balance changes, bug fixes, changes to the user interface, and much more. So we got a lot of stuff to go over. I mean, Supercell, I think they listen to the community a lot, especially on the balance changes, because a lot of the balance changes they just put were right. They were like what people were asking for. And it really just shows how much Supercell cares about their community, because a lot of people have been asking for this, and now we finally got it. So now let's just dive into some of these changes that just happened. Now I'm gonna have some gameplay in the background while also putting all of the changes over here to the right. And also, guys, I'm using a new recording method. Instead of just using the iOS thing that everybody uses, I'm using something where I record with my computer and connect it to my phone. So just tell me how you guys think about it and if it looks good or not. And also if the game volume is too loud or too low compared to my voice, because yeah, I'm still just getting used to this new setup. So I'd really appreciate it if you guys gave me your feedback in the comments. But anyways, let's just get started straight into the balance changes. Now I don't know why, but Supercell didn't actually post the balance changes in the Brawl Stars app. For you to find them, you actually have to go on the Reddit. If you go on the update and bug fixes, they didn't say anything about all the balance changes. So I'm just gonna go over every single brawler that got buffed and nerfed. But let's just start off with all the ones that got nerfed. First and foremost, we have the most important one, which is Crow. Now a lot of people were complaining that he was extremely strong and hard to stop, and they listened. So he got 2 nerfs. First, it now takes 6 daggers plus the poison to charge up his super instead of 5 plus poison. And second, his super tick is now decreased to 4 from 5, and that's a big deal. So now when you get hit by that dagger, you can get into the battle a little bit quicker, which is just a good nerf for him. But I don't know if that's gonna be enough. We'll see. But moving on, the next OP brawler that also got the nerf hammer is Colt. Now his reload speed was insanely fast. Everybody knew that. So they increased his from 1.25 seconds to 1.5 seconds. In my opinion, that's a good start, but I don't know if that's enough to make him balanced, because he still has a lot of health for long range damage dealer. He has the same health as somebody like Jesse. So I think he should lose at least 100 or 200 base HP. But that's just my opinion, but this nerf is a good start. Speaking of good starts, one that a lot of people complain about right away as soon as the update released on the Reddit is another mortis nerf. And this time it's to his brand new star power. Instead of healing 1,200, it now only heals 1,000. A lot of people criticize that because he seemed fine. He was a little bit stronger in smash and grab, but that was an up from him being almost unusable previously before this update. Now he was just usable and a solid choice. But now, after another nerf to him, I don't know how usable he's gonna be. It's not a huge change, but it can be noticeable. Speaking of nerfs to star power, Spike also got hit with that nerf hammer. Now his star power is getting reduced heal from 600 to 500. So now his super, when you stand on it, it's gonna heal 100 less HP, which is kind of a big deal, because if you had Spike and you just toss your super right on the ground, you were basically immune for a little while, because that health just regens so fast. But a problem with that thinking is that before Spike's star power, he was pretty bad because he was low HP and he was a medium range brawler. So I don't know how I feel about that change. I think he should have been left the same, but that's just my opinion. But now we come to 2 changes that you're either gonna love or you're gonna hate based on if you play these characters a lot. First, we have Pam, and her healing stations effect was reduced from 400 to 360 per tick. And now in my opinion, I really like that change, because whenever I use a low damage brawler, I just couldn't do enough damage to counter that healing station. He just healed so fast, so you always had to have a really strong damage dealer to actually do something. But there's always going to be people that say that nerfing her only makes her weaker on every other game mode. But in my opinion, she's just not usable in other game modes other than smash and grab. So they're just trying to fine tune her for this game mode, because that's what most people play her in, and where she's basically most useful. And last but not least, we have a nerf to Ricochet. And and his star power is being reduced from 100 to 80 extra damage whenever shots bounce off the walls. Now I myself, I see why they did this change, but I'm not sure why they did it, because it didn't seem overpowered, but it was just like an extra thing to get people to bounce their shots more and like use what ricochet is for. So I don't know why they reduced the damage from 100 to 80 on that, but they didn't make it look better. Like if you see the animation for it, it looks a lot better than before, so I give them that. And that's it for all the nerfs. Now I think they got most of those right except one or two, like the mortis one or maybe the ricochet one, but for the most part they got it right. But now let's move on to the buffs, and I'm gonna order them in order of the ones I think are most significant to least significant. And the one we're gonna start off with is Darryl. Now he got so many changes, I think he got about 4. So let's go over all his changes. First, his health was increased by 200. Secondly, his attack spread is a little bit closer, so it's not gonna be like as far apart as it is currently. Third, his star power now shields for 80% of the damage, up from 70%. And lastly, which is actually a nerf, his super roll speed was decreased to 2,400 from 2,800. And overall, I think these changes are great. Like in my opinion, Darryl like just seemed like a little bit underpowered, because especially the attack spread decrease, because it just seems so hard to hit all of his shots, especially if you were at close range. Like even at close range it was hard to hit, so I really like those buffs. And next up we have another brawler that needed some love, which is Bull. Now he got 3 separate buffs, which is a really good thing. Firstly, he got a health increase by 200. Secondly, his attack was increased to 440 from 400. And third, his star power now activates when he's below 50% HP. And I really think all of those are great, because most people were saying that Bull was one of the worst, if not the worst brawler in the game currently, because of his like really weak star power. What I think he really needs though is a star power rework, because his is just like lackluster. Because most of the time when you're below 50% HP, you want to have more health, like you want to run away and get your HP back, not stay at below 50% just so you can get 2 times reloading speed. Like I just think they need to fix it somehow. Speaking of star power reworks, Poco just got one to his. Before, like it really didn't suit his playstyle because you had to die for it to be activated, and now they just reworked it completely. Basically, now how it works, his main attack now heals your allies by 200 HP per hit, which is just amazing. It just reinforces the fact that you want to stay alive and you're going to keep your allies alive. 200 HP though does seem a bit much, because he can heal with that giant cone and hit his enemies and heal his teammates. So I don't know if they're going to tweak that in the future or so. Next up we have my favorite brawler, Nita. Now she got 2 different buffs. First, her HP was increased by 200, and her star power healing is now being increased to 200 from 180. Now this wasn't really the buff I was expecting for Nita. What I thought she was going to get was like some kind of a buff to her super, because her bear just seems like a little bit weak, but this works out as well. I've been playing her a little while and I won like a bunch of matches with her, even when playing with randoms. Now I don't know if like this is because I was getting good teammates going against bad opponents, but she just feels a lot better than before. Moving on, we have another tank getting buffed. All of them are getting buffs this time around, and he's getting 2 separate buffs. First, his HP is being increased by 200, and secondly, his star power's damage, like his fire, is getting increased to 5 ticks from 4, and the damage is being increased to 600 over 4 seconds from 400. And it seems they're aware that the current meta is all about long range damage dealers, so I'm glad they're giving all these short range tanks some love. They really needed it. And these last 2 buffs are not as important, but they're still buffs. First of the 2, we have Brock. And what's happening is his star power's damage is being increased from 160 to 240 per second. And why I say this isn't like very useful is because like on the ground, most people like don't walk into it, especially like at higher levels. So it's a buff, but not really game changing. And last but not least, we have Tara. And she's also getting a boost to her star power, which is being increased from 1,600 to 2,000 in health. And I really think that was necessary, because that thing was usually like worthless. It died so fast and people just knew how to deal with it. But they also gave Terra a mini nerf where it no longer scales with showdown power-ups or when you're the boss in boss fight. But that's it guys for all the balance changes. Tell me what you think about all of these changes in the comments. I love to hear what you guys think. But now let's just go over all of the new features like the UI changes, bug fixes, and a whole bunch of other stuff. Let's first discuss all the changes to the events or the maps. But the one I'm really like, the one that's game changing, is Temple Ruins. They're tweaking the map so it no longer benefits the mortis double thrower strategy. You know how dominant that strategy was on the map, which I really like, and it's probably going to make that map a lot more enjoyable. Second, GG Corral is being tweaked to be more difficult on offense. Now I don't know why they're doing this because they already did that beforehand, and now that map literally only has one choke point, which already makes it tough on the offense. But I haven't played it too much since that because it just looked way too hard for the offense. So I just haven't played like Heist in general a lot lately. Next, Nita's bear, Jesse's turret, and Pam's healing station are all going to have less HP in boss battle when they're the boss. And that just makes it so like Jesse can't spam that turret and always have one at hand, and they can also destroy him faster. And with that change, I'm not too sure how good Jesse and Nita are still going to be, but I'm pretty sure they're still going to be viable in that game mode. And lastly, they're tweaking how star player works. So if you're in the losing team, you're less likely to get star player, plus it's less likely to be awarded for a teammate that dropped a lot of gems or gave up a lot of stars in bounty. So it's no longer going to be damage based, because before it was usually who got the most damage, like that was the biggest factor. So basically what they're doing is just putting more of an emphasis on the objective instead of getting those kills. It's not a huge change, but it's still a change in the positive direction. But that's it for all of those changes. Now let's go over all the aesthetic changes that they just implemented, and there's a ton of them. First, you probably already noticed with the gameplay, it's the new health and ammo bar styles. Basically now the health bar, the numbers are above the health bar instead of right on it, and the ammo bar like looks a little bit bigger. Now I'm not too sure if I like this or not because it just like adds a little bit more clutter to it, because it requires a little bit more space to display all of the information, and I don't know how much I like that for the aesthetic value of the game. Secondly, and this one's pretty important, you now have hit markers. So whenever you hit somebody, your super button like glows. So now if you're playing with a Piper and you shoot somebody off to the side, you'll know you hit them, which is a really nice touch. A lot of people have been asking for that for a while. And another cool feature they added is that now you can see everybody's trophies at the end of a battle. So no longer do you have to judge them based on how much power they have. So now you can see if the matchmaking system is good or bad all by yourselves without having to just look at the power. Other than that, there's two minor changes to the UI. First, you can now re-see your brawlers in your profile page. You always had that option before this update, but for some reason they removed it, so now they have it back, and you can see all your brawlers in order from most trophies to least trophies. And secondly, now your joystick is going to be scaled by your device, so I'm guessing the joystick sizes are going to be different for like an iPhone from an iPad and stuff like that. Moving off of that, we also have a bunch more changes to how the shop works, the ticket system, and how you open brawl boxes. First, like we already knew before, the coin booster is completely removed. There are no more coin boosters, you can't get them in boxes, and they're being replaced by coin doublers in boxes. So now coin doublers are 2 times more likely to appear. And also, tickets are also going to appear in the shop, but they're going to cost gems. And I don't know how I feel about that. Like, it really feels like a pay-to-play model, not even pay-to-win. Because a lot of people love to play the Robot Rumble and the Boss Battle game mode, but usually when it comes around, they have like 5 tickets. So now what they're doing is you basically have to pay money to play those 2 games. Like, that just doesn't seem fair at all. Like, you should at least be able to do it in friendly battles with your friends, but it doesn't count for your actual time, so it doesn't show it in your profile for 0 ticket. But moving off of that, there's 2 more changes to tickets, which are that there's more stakes that you can bet your tickets on, so there's more in between 1 and 20, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, 15, and 20, so just more options in general. Secondly, tickets are permanent, so you no longer lose them after every single event. So if you couldn't use yours this event, you can just save it for the next one. Other than that, the last two things are basically just quality of life changes that I really appreciate them finally fixing. First is that you can now open boxes in game rooms. So many times when I was in a game room, like my teammates always had to leave to get a box. And the other thing is that if the host leaves the game room, it'll no longer just automatically close. Like this thing was really annoying because if somebody had to leave, like you just had to restart the room, and I didn't know why it didn't just automatically assign somebody as host, but they fixed it, so that's all that matters. But other than that, guys, there's just some other minor bug fixes. Well, actually you can consider them major because a few of them were game breaking, especially all the issues with Darryl's super. So they're gonna fix all of that. They're gonna fix the issue where Darryl could get stuck on the lake on GG Corral, where he could get stuck on walls, where he didn't respawn in Brawl Ball once he was using his super, and that last one, which I'm not too sure what it means. But the one I'm sad is that you can no longer do duplicate brawlers inside of friendly battles. I was gonna make a video for that tomorrow, but now you can't do it anymore. Basically, before you had like the option to make duplicate brawlers in friendly battles by like swapping your positions while being ready, but now you can't do that. But other than that, all the other issues are pretty minor, and I never myself encountered those issues at all. But that's it for this update. One thing I did notice though that they didn't list here is that the little menu when you're at the top, like it's a little bit bigger, like where it shows your trophies. And I actually like that because before it was like pretty small, so it showed your trophies like really tiny. But anyways, guys, tell me what you think. I always read all the comments, so just tell me your opinion on all the balance changes, all the bug fixes, and everything. But in my opinion, guys, I really think global release is kind of close, but it's still probably like a few months out because they still need to add voice acting for about half the characters. I think still like 9 of the characters still need a voice acting, and they still need to do a few more tweaks. Like in my opinion, there's way too much gray. Like for the character selection, it's good, but for the rest of the menus, I think it's too much gray. But anyways, I hope you all enjoyed the video, especially that last extremely clutch gameplay. Like that was probably one of the craziest smash and grab game I ever played in my life. But I'm not sure why the video was like lagging a little bit, but it was still crazy. Anyways, I hope you all enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.